Hi everybody, it's Anne Bird here from Anne Bird Coaching, and this is my summer stress relief workshop. So we're gonna be talking about how you can go from hectic to happy this summer without breaking a sweat. So this workshop is all about finding the time, space, and being able to truly switch off, let go, allow your body, mind, and soul to relax when you're at that point when you're about to go on your holiday, or you've got on your holiday, you've spent so much time booking it, organizing it, getting everybody ready for it. And what happens when you actually get there, when you finally arrive at your destination, you're about to collapse on the sun lounger or just sit with a nice cold drink, admiring the view, and you're trying to just say, okay, here I am, I can rest, I can get myself back to normal. And what happens? Your brain doesn't switch off. It just keeps going round and round, and you can't stop thinking. You can't stop the worry cycle that we get into. You can't stop that sort of negative inner critic, the monkey mind, as we call it. And you spend a lot of your time on holiday, just worrying about all the things that you haven't done, or the things that you've left behind. You haven't got round to finishing off. And then, of course, you're not truly resting and you're not restoring yourself at all. And so this workshop is giving you some techniques, tips and ideas on how you can actually do that and how you can truly let go. And that, summer is meant to be about pressing pause. It's meant to be about freedom, enjoyment, enjoying the sunshine and the weather, and having time with friends and family, and just relaxation. Sadly, these days, what happens is that we are so continually on the go. We live in the world of 24/7 media. Everything is literally at our fingertips, and so we don't do the downtime as much as we may have done, quite a few years ago, because there's always something to distract us. There's always something then that we kind of we can focus on, or we need to do, or whatever's happening. So what ends up is that then we're never properly resting, and that's what happens when stress can accumulate, and we can get to a point where we're absolutely burnt out and we're just exhausted, and then we can crash, which of course you don't want to happen when you're away on your holiday. So this workshop, I've got a little slide to talk about exactly what we're going to be doing. Just bear with me. Oh, there we go. So the topics we're going to cover are defining the biggest struggle that you have to switch off and relax this summer. We're going to learn how to easily check in with yourself to stop feeling stuck and tired. We're going to learn how to release and what to release when you relax, and not be afraid to face your fears. And then we're going to focus on what you can control and create clear boundaries without feeling selfish. So before we start, I'm just going to very briefly tell you a little bit about me. I know that a lot of these online workshops, etc., often people just talk about themselves. So I don't want to be one of those people. But what I'm going to do is just give you a very brief overview about who I am, and then what are my values, and what's my credibility. So why am I sitting here, talking to you today? So I'm Anne, I'm 50 years old. I currently live in Nottingham in the UK with my husband, who I've been married to for 16 years. We have one cat called Daisy, and we've recently got a chocolate Labrador puppy called Willow, who is an absolute crazy joy. I have one daughter who is 30 years old, and she currently lives in Canada. Her and her husband migrated there about 2 years ago, and I have a little grandson called George, who's nearly 2. and another little grandson on the way. So my background is in social work. So I have been involved in social work, mainly child protection and children in care, for, I would say, probably over 25 years. And when I was doing that job, one of the main focuses and the main sort of issues that I just kept coming up against time and time again was that so many people, and particularly women, really struggled with their self-esteem and their confidence. And that has also been something that I have found difficult over the years with myself as well. I have also had one or two of life challenges thrown at me, and just very briefly to let you know that I became pregnant at 19, unplanned, and I was in the middle of my social work degree, and I was also in a abusive relationship for about 6 years. I was a single mum for 12 years, bringing up my daughter mainly on my own, and I was trying to hold down a very stressful full-time job as well. And at that time, I was suffering from depression and anxiety on and off for a number of years. And then things sort of changed in my family. My parents both became very ill. And also at that time, my daughter was suffering with her own mental health problems. And so 7 years ago, my whole world collapsed. I ended up having a serious anxiety breakdown, and I ended up in a psychiatric hospital for a month. And my husband actually had to give up work to care for me because I just couldn't leave the house, and I wasn't able to leave his side because of the crippling anxiety. And at that time, I had no choice really but to, back off, step away from everything and reassess my life and career. Because most of the time I've believed the negative stories. I didn't believe in myself. I was quite ashamed of my past. And I was overwhelmed about trying to do everything on my own and felt powerless to make any changes. Happily, we can fast forward to now, where I'm living a very different life. So at the age, I left my current job as a social worker, and I went back to college at the age of 45. I reignited my love of crafts and sewing, and used this as a tool to help my recovery. And I was starting to learn lots of wonderful new and exciting skills. I took the plunge into this wonderful world of self-development and modern day spirituality probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. And that was really when things started to shift and change for me. And rather than having counselling and therapy, which I'd been through most of my life, I decided to invest in the services of a life coach. And this was where the real magic happened. I was able to really start to change my mindset, and I could see that I was finally able to truly love myself, believe in who I was, and see that I wasn't a victim anymore, but actually I was a survivor, and that I knew so much more about who I was. And I think what made me then make the decision to become a life coach was that I wanted to use the skills that I still had from my social work around communication and getting on well with people and connecting. But I also, though, wanted to inspire and support other women on their journey to hopefully show them that they can achieve everything that they want in their lives as well. My values, well, I believe completely that every woman has everything they need deep down within themselves. We so often are looking for some magic pill in our lives, some kind of, magic wand that we can just wave to solve everything and sort everything out. And we spend our lives striving and pushing. And actually, it's much, much better to be able to let go, to release, and to know that actually what we have and all that we have and all that we need is deep down within us. But I totally know that at times we need help. We need to have support. And I love being a coach because I love being somebody's cheerleader and accountability partner. And I've been so honoured to walk alongside so many wonderful women on their journey. And most people would say that I can be quite direct. I am very real. I make sure that everybody keeps their feet on the ground. And it's taken a long time for me to shift my negative mindset. So I do know how tough and hard it can be. But with consistency and, practice, you really can make your dreams come true. So we're going to start talking about the workshop that we have now. And the first question is, what is stopping you switch off and truly relax this summer? Now, very often, we get away on holiday, and because our lives are so busy and stressful, we don't actually spend that time looking at what is going on deep down within ourselves, or even within our world, or within everything that's happening to us. And so when you are away, in some ways, it's good to be able to stop and have that sort of time to maybe get more curious, to ask the questions of yourself that perhaps you wouldn't do before, and to then see what comes up and not be frightened of that, really, because, I think so many people spend a lot of time pushing away their issues and problems and sort of burying our head in the sand. But ultimately that usually ends up and is feeling completely exhausted and just burnt out and no good for anybody. So one of the ways that we can do that is to look at how do you check in with yourself. So what do you do? And when you are able to start to see and make those questions and start to kind of have more awareness of what's going on inside yourself, then you can stop feeling so stuck. And it opens the door to options around things that can be different, and that you can make changes, and that that life isn't about just staying where you are. And it doesn't matter how old you are, we can all make changes in our lives. So one of the first sort of 3 questions that I think is really important to ask yourself is, number 1, what is your current battery percentage? So generally that goes from 100%, where you're like really energized, you're feeling great and amazing, to 0 when you're absolutely completely depleted and you've got nothing left. And sometimes, we can often be in the middle, and sometimes we can be higher or lower. It often depends on what is going on and what other things are happening in our lives. And then, of course, that's the question number 2, which is, what is draining you? What is the thing that is taking away your precious energy and the power that you have inside you? We're not limitless, and we can after time, you become more and more down and stressed and anxious, that ultimately then, we can end up being very close to burnout. And then looking at question 3 is about saying, okay, so what can I do that will shift things for me? What can I do? What can I do more of? What brings me happiness and joy in my life? And again, very often we don't spend time thinking about this. And it's a really important question, because when we feel good about our lives and we feel happy, then, we can support and help others. And so it's about seeing whether you can change some of the things that are draining you for more of the things that bring you joy. And then the next thing is, when you actually get to relax, don't be afraid to face your fears and release negativity. Now, it's not as difficult as you think, because I know so many people find it hard to really look directly at what is their main issue, what is their main fear in their lives. Mainly because I think, we're frightened. It's scary, because if you're suddenly left with all these emotions and feelings and you can't do anything about them, then you're frightened maybe that you're just going to collapse in a heap and you're not going to be able to carry on. And actually, that very rarely happens, because what you're doing is you're being proactive. And it's okay to stick with the negative emotions for some time. It's okay to be where you are. Sometimes we have to face stuff to then be able to move on from it. I'm a big believer in facing up to our fears and then being able to release that and let that go. Because actually, when we deal with this difficult stuff, it means that we then have space and we're more open and ready to receive the good stuff. And of course, one of the big things is being able to focus on what you can control. And as women, I'm exactly the same. You know, we spend all our lives trying to control everybody and everything. And of course, you know, that's a positive thing in the sense of caring, but not controlling. You know, women particularly spend a lot of how they see themselves is very dependent on other people, on feeling that they're making other people in their lives feel good, feel positive, feel cared for. And of course, again, that's a very good thing to do. But you have to remember that you can't control other people. So if you're on your holiday with your family and some people are not having a good time, it's not your job to try and make it okay for everybody. We do have our own limitations and we can put down the boundaries. We do our best. We can only ever do our best. And we can't make those other people relax or have fun or, you know, do things that we would like them to do. And I think, again, when you're being the role model to say, actually, you know, this is about me having some rest and some downtime as well, then I think that gives a very clear message to people. And that's what we mean by creating a boundary that is firm. And you're not then feeling selfish, because looking after yourself is not selfish. I find so many women realize that once they can see that actually when they care for themselves and feel good, that means then that they can support others, that you become a better wife, a better mum, a better daughter. We can't pour from an empty cup. It's one of my the sayings that I like so much, and it is so, so true. And then the next thing to look at is, how do we embrace imperfection? You know, and often those of us that are perfectionists that want to do a good job end up like just keeping going all the time. And they just seem to have to push and push and push and be continually busy. And they never actually have any free time. And generally, if you're that person, it would say to me that maybe there is something that you're hiding from, something that you're not able to face. And of course, you know, timing is important. But if you then get to a point where you are so tired and so exhausted, then you're not able to then again do anything particularly. And we just crash and burn, which can happen to so many people. So it's about saying that you're not perfect, that it's okay to have flaws, you know, and not spend your time complaining or blaming other people. That, you know, let some things go. It doesn't have to be exactly, you know, 100%. And often that is about you needing it to be like that, not necessarily other people. And it's about being kind to you. You know, it's like we spend a lot of time pushing ourselves, and being kind to us is just as important as being kind to others. And then, of course, the next thing is the healthy work-life balance. And I think, you know, some of us can feel that work demands an awful lot of us, and it can get to a point where, you know, you're perhaps just focusing too much on work, or work has taken over. And, you know, when we realize that, it's huge. It's really positive, because it makes us see that everything, you know, we are not indispensable, and that life should be a balance of times of being busy, but also at times of calm and of switching off and of relaxing. And of course, it's about having more joy. We're back to that word again. If we have more joy in our life, then that gives us energy. It revitalizes us. And it's about maybe then being joyful and being in the moment. So important that we can't do anything about the past, and actually we can't do anything about the future. So the time is now, and if we can stay in the time now, we are then a much more happier, nice person to be around. So it is just saying to yourself, I can let go. I can spend time, not doing everything 100%, and realize that when we get balance in our lives, we get more balance in ourselves. And one of the ways that I like to do that, and it's almost like this idea of getting out of your head and into your heart, which is where we have our gut feeling, our intuition, is by a meditation. And I've got this brief little meditation here that I'm going to take you through just on the workshop right now. I don't know if you're aware, but the heart is actually, its field is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's. So actually, get your head away from the kind of practical action thinking and get it more into the creative, intuitive, and that is always going to be good for you. So we're going to go through this. If you just want to spend a few moments, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And this is just to center yourself. 2, 3. And what I want you to do is to put your hand on your heart. And this is a good way to actually ground you, to actually sort of feel the feeling of your heart under your hand. And what I want you to do is to start by imagining a soft pink rose at the center of your heart. As you breathe in and out, visualize this rose, the petals opening up more and more. Now I want you to visualize and see in your mind's eye a golden, beautiful light in the center of that rose. And as you breathe and receive, the light grows, spreading throughout your chest, your legs, arms, and to every area of your body. And as this light grows, it reaches out into every part of your room. And then I want you to visualize this light getting bigger and bigger, connecting to everyone and everything in your street, town, city, world, and then out into the universe and completely beyond. And then what you want to do is bring yourself back to feeling your heart under your hand again. And know that you are deeply connected to your heart and ready to listen to what it has to tell you. So this meditation is really good to actually, sort of make that shift away from the thinking part of your brain into the knowing, the intuitive, the gut part of us, which is usually the part that we should be relying on more, because it's the part that knows us the best. So I hope you found that helpful. This slide is all about my top tips for relaxation. So, maybe when you're actually on holiday, you could take a notebook with you, and journaling, that's the first one that we've got there. So just writing out all your thoughts and feelings and emotions, all your worries, everything that you feel that you're carrying when you get on your holiday. It's brilliant just to absolutely write it all out, write it down, get rid of it. And then you can then put that away. You can decide to throw it away. You can burn it. You can release it and let it go. Because there's something very powerful about putting something down on paper, which means that you're kind of like no longer holding on to it. And then you can just then say to yourself, you know, that is for, not for now, that is for another time, that is for me to think about when I get back. And, you know, that technique can work really well. And journaling for me has been really powerful in a way of being able to kind of get my thoughts and emotions and feelings out. And of course, you're not going to upset anybody. You can just write whatever you want to, because nobody's going to see it. You know, it's just for you or not. You don't have to read it. I don't read mine. But it's a great way of asking yourself questions, and then almost like a little bit like what we're talking about around your intuition. Sometimes the answers will come if you start to write out what starts to come into your head. So it's a lovely way to be able to let go and release some of the negative worries that we have. The next one is meditation, which obviously we've just done some on. That is the one thing that I just can't do without now. For me, with my anxiety, meditation was definitely one of the big answers, because what it enabled me to do is to kind of quieten down the negative voice in my head. And it helped me to connect to either my breath or words, because I particularly like guided meditation, or a kind of visualization, which is also very powerful. And what that did is that it kind of allows you to maybe to escape a little bit into a different world. And it does have a powerful effect on the brain and on calming you down, on your immune system, your blood pressure, and all aspects to your health. And then the other one is something that I've started to enjoy quite recently, which is mindful colouring. And this is something, again, that it's got quite a lot of research to show that it's something that we are doing more and more of, and that actually again shows that it can have a really positive impact on depression and anxiety. But it also has that nostalgia element to it, which I think, you know, is really good for us, because we get a real rush when we think about our childhood or happy times when we were young, when we didn't have all the worries of the world on our hands. It kind of brings back that notion of being in the moment, of being joyful and happy as we are now. And also what you do is when you're colouring, you are able to kind of like connect again more to your heart, and you're able to focus on what you're doing so much more, rather than go off into the worry sort of questions and sort of like the cycle of fear and negativity. So those are three of my tips for being able to relax. You can do those on holiday, but you can also do them at other times. Now, the one thing that I'm really excited about today, which was another reason for doing the workshop, was that I'm just launching something completely new. And this is called Stress Less Laser Coaching. So this is unlimited 15-minute coaching that I'm going to give you to help you reduce stress and worry less. Now, this is something like really different and new. I don't know anybody else that's doing this, but it's something that I guess is that can offer what you need, but in a really short and easy kind of time frame. And what we do is that I'm going to be offering it for a whole year. And so when we say what actually is it, here's a slide to tell you. And it's the program works because we meet on the phone for a very powerful 15-minute session. Now, I know 15 minutes may not sound that long, but it's incredible actually what you can do in a short space of time, because you're very focused and you're very action orientated. And that's what I love about coaching. And one of the things that I've always found it's so helpful is that it's very solution focused. It's not just about talking and talking and talking. It's actually about taking action and doing as well. But in the first session that we have, it will be 30 minutes. because obviously I will need to learn more about you and your specific session. And then on each call, we'll agree on homework so that you can take action between calls to be able to move forward. And once you've done your homework, you can schedule your next call. So that's really helpful in the sense that, you know, if you had your call on Wednesday and then you could do your homework, you could end up being able to schedule your new call very quickly after that. So it really depends on you and obviously your motivation to kind of get as much as possible out of the coaching. And what I like to do with clients that I work with is take you on a bit of a journey. And this is the roadmap. So this is just a very brief guide of some of the areas that we will cover. And I haven't got time to go into lots of detail, but you can see that we start off with recognize. So it's about identifying where you are and what you need support with. Then it's about releasing, facing your fears and letting go. It's about restoring, re-energizing and creating boundaries. And then it's about rising, going forward and becoming the woman that you're meant to be. And then creating a resilient toolkit so that you can kind of step on with your journey. And this is just a nice way to show it really, but we'll obviously talk more about that as we go. So what's happening is that I'm going to be offering this for a limited number of new clients. So I've opened up 8 spaces for my Stress Less laser coaching. And the program is just $997, which is £802 in UK money, for 1 full year of unlimited 15-minute laser coaching sessions. So what will you learn? Well, you'll learn how to stop up your depleted energy reserves, how to face your fears and overcome them. You will learn to become more confident and be able to let go of negative self-talk. You will feel a huge sense of relief and you will become more resilient so that you're no longer stressing and you're restoring the balance in your life. And that for less than $84 a month is, I think, absolutely incredible. And what we like to see it as, it's almost like a gym membership idea. But this, of course, is the answer to, you know, so many difficulties, is that you get a coach that's in your pocket almost, really. So just bear with me. That's it. So yeah, so the way I like to see it is that you want to think of this as having this this coach there in your pocket, ready to answer all the questions that you need. And as it's only 15 minutes, you can easily fit it into your daily schedule. You can do it on the commute, after work or an evening, and I'm usually pretty flexible with what I do. And obviously the unlimited coaching allows you to stay on track. It means that you can get expert help when you need it. And there's accountability. So, you know, the homework will keep you moving forward. It will keep you on track. And of course you'll have, you know, the services of a coach as you do that. So as I'm saying here, I can't think of a better or faster way to help you overcome stress, negativity and overwhelmed. And I'm excited to help you turn that around. And as I've said, you know, this is only to 8 people, so that I have lots of time to support you on your journey, and that you know you are able to do this and that you are worthy, and I can't wait to help you. And once you sign up for the coaching, you will get an email with me with instructions on a link to schedule our first coaching call. So just trying to, here we go. So the Stress Less coaching is unlimited 15-minute coaching sessions to help you reduce stress and worry less. And that is only $997, £802 for 1 year. And, you know, $82 a month is less than the cost of a coffee per day. And actually, coffee is maybe not the best thing for you to have when you're feeling stressed. So this is a much, much healthier way of being able to, help you manage the stress and the crazy busyness of life that we get stuck in, and, make those steps forward with the support and help of a coach to be able to get you there. So there is a link. I'm going to put it in the comments, or the email, or the message that when I'm sending this replay out to you. So check it out. If you want to ask me any questions, please get in touch. That's not a problem at all. And yeah, I just would love to be able to help and support you on your journey. And I can just see that this would work for so many people, because it's easy, it's simple, and it's quick, and it fits in most people's lives. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the workshop and that you found it really helpful, and that you got lots of good tips and advice. And yeah, I hope that maybe we can connect, and we can go further in more depth in your stress-less journey, so that, when you come around next summer, you'll be so serene and calm and relaxed that life will just pass you by without you realizing. Okay, take care of yourselves. Thanks again. Bye.